I'll introduce Ray. He had to run to the bathroom.
No, not to the bathroom.
Did you wash your hands?
Yes, I did 3 or 4 times already today. I feel like a crazy person.
All right, so we still have a few that are connecting here to audio.
That's fine.
Give it another minute.
That's fine. I'm in your hands, so don't worry about it.
Just say when. You're good? Everybody ready? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday Lunch and Learn. Hopefully you've all got something interesting to eat before you. Thanks for turning your pictures on. It's nice to see some of you. So let me introduce Ray for those that haven't been to our meetings and have heard Ray before. Ray's with Beverly Drive Financial. He's our interest rate guru that's been with us now for probably 5 or 6 years and has been right on in predicting interest rates and how the economy is going to turn over the next few years. So I'm interested into what he has to say today. We're going to try to keep this to maybe 30, 45 minutes. Also, if you're new to a Zoom meeting, you can put questions on that chat at the bottom there. If you just click on that, you can type in questions really at any time, and Ray can see those during his presentation. And at the end, if you've got your camera on, you can also just raise your hand and we can take questions. It works better with using that chat by typing it on the right of your screen. So here's Ray with Beverly Drive Financial. Ray, it's all yours.
Thank you, Durf. Very nice to be with all of you. I've not done a Zoom in the past, so this is my first foray. I'll do my very best, but you may have to have an inkling for forgiveness here and there along the way. And Durf, I have given talks to TRG more than 6 years. I think we're going on 10 or 11 years, actually, as far as I recall. Anyhow, my goal today is to get each and every one of you that has joined us off the sofa and back to work in earnest. And not make work where you're just fiddling around on your computer and not really doing much. You've got to get out with clients and prospects and make presentations. In fact, you know, I kind of consider it the patriotic duty of any real estate agent, because when people buy a house, a lot of good things begin to happen economically. They start buying furniture and drapes and floor coverings and repaving the steps and the driveways and much, much more. So that's why your job in real estate has always been considered by economists and the government, et cetera, as incredibly important and a necessary industry, because you're the catalyst to really get things in the economy moving. You're one of the most essential industries out there for those reasons, because it's the biggest investment many people make. And then one more thing is, if you get off that sofa and get to work, there's extraordinary opportunity available to you for your own well-being financially. And that's what I want to talk about. Most real estate agents, if the truth be told, are probably sitting at home doing nothing. Lord knows why. But what it means is there's a lot less competition for those who are willing to get out there and do it. Make no mistake, in order to be out there, you're going to have to work hard, perhaps work creatively, like what we're doing here today with the Zoom forecast, and maybe get a little bit out of your comfort zone and really hustle. But it's really never been very different than that in any kind of sales. One of the things that I talked to Durf about yesterday when we were getting ready to put this together, there's a Hall of Fame professional quarterback by the name of Roger Staubach, long retired. but Roger Staubach went to the Naval Academy, Annapolis, and I think in my mind at least, he's probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest college quarterback ever, and he is a professional Hall of Fame quarterback. But he led the Naval Academy to the national championship. And, you know, the Naval Academy is not a powerhouse. It's not like they had all these great players around. He did it pretty much single-handedly. And I heard him speak once a number of years ago. And somebody asked him what he attributed his great success to in the football field. And by the way, he's been very successful in real estate too, but afterwards in his retirement. But he said he worked more. He always went that extra mile is how he stated it. And he said it was really easy because when you're going that extra last mile, there's no one else on the track. There's not much competition. And right now, that's you in the real estate business. This is your opportunity to go that extra mile to be a star when there's really very little competition because most other people aren't doing it. And then another factor that I don't speak Chinese, and if you do, I don't want you laughing at me, but I for some reason or another, I think that there's a word in the Chinese language for the word crisis that is similar in Chinese to the word opportunity. I don't know if that's true or not. I was told that once, but nonetheless, whether it's in Chinese or Greek or French or English, a crisis always equals opportunity down the road. It always does, but you've got to get to work to embrace those opportunities. So in this crisis, there definitely are opportunities. So let's talk about real estate and you and what kind of opportunities. We'll talk about the economy and investing in our firm and our business a little bit later. I think this should only take a total of 30 or 35 minutes, depending on your questions. So hunker down, don't get antsy, take notes, feel free to ask questions, and let's get to it. I realize Zoom may not be quite as dynamic as an in-person speech, but suck it up, focus, and pay attention, because whenever you're at home, there are always a lot of distractions. And let's start with the negatives in real estate. And there's always objections, negatives, there's always positives in anything in sales. In my mind, at least, there are really only two predominant negatives in the world of real estate right now. By the way, I have a question. Let me see. Do you have any questions? Select from Mindy Green. Good afternoon. Okay. Number one objection is there isn't enough inventory. That's true, and that's been true for maybe 2 years or something like that. The best road to success in any business, and certainly in a real estate business, is to provide people with that which they want but cannot get. So if there's no inventory, your road to success is to hustle and get listings, period. If you have listings, you're the king or the queen of the hill. Nobody else is prospecting, so you've got to get to it. People are shut in. They're tired of talking to their dog and their cat and their parakeet and even to each other. So they're dying to talk to you if you just present yourself. Believe it or not, they are. They're dying to talk to anybody, even you or me, especially if you're willing to talk to them and about their belongings. And the fact is their biggest belonging is their property. And everybody in today's economy, everybody is curious about a couple of things. When's the restaurant going to open? What's the value of real estate? What's the value of our neighbor's real estate? Because we all like to know that. Where are mortgage rates going? What's up with refis? And where's the economy and investing going in the stock market? And I'm going to try and answer some of those best I can. But the one negative is not enough inventory, and you got to hustle to get it. Negative number two, and again, this has never been any different, but in order to be a buyer, you got to be the high bidder. It's just that simple. It means you have to be willing to perhaps come over asking in most cases when there's not much inventory. At today's unprecedented low mortgage rates, whereby buyers are getting the cheapest money in history, that really gives them more buying power and ability to be the high bidder. Somebody asked me a question. Okay. However, if you're a real estate agent and you're going to be starting to work with a potential buyer, I think you have to anticipate their.
Well, the bus is still running. Yeah. So they only let a few people on at a time. You probably never get on.
Danny, am I still going or what? I hear somebody in the background. Am I okay?
All right. They muted them, so I think it's okay now.
Okay. However, you have to anticipate their objections about being the high bidder. And it's important to educate your potential buyers right out of the box, even before you start showing them houses or properties, because they're going to get into a price war with other bidders when there's not much inventory. And you've got to pre-warn them that they've got to get with it. And that means you have to do a little bit in the way of math. For example, and I think you should get examples from your mortgage broker, or you can call us and I'll give them to you. But for example, if somebody has to pay an extra, let's say $25,000 over what they had in mind, and listen, $25,000 is $25,000, I get it. But what does that really cost you per month in today's low mortgage rates? Maybe, what, 70, 80 bucks a month, something like that? Your mortgage broker can give you the exact number. Why are you killing a $500,000 or a $600,000 or a $700,000 deal over 70 or 80 or 90 bucks a month? So I think you should have typed up what an extra 10,000 cost them per month, what an extra 20,000, and like that, so that you can really show them that it's probably not worth fussing about. A lot of times it's people's pride where they say, well, you know, I'm only going to offer this much, and sometimes it backfires on them. And if they don't get the deal and they wait, prices have been going up even in this economy. It's not going to benefit them. They're going to end up paying more anyway. So those are the two negatives: not enough inventory, and they're going to probably have to pay over asking. Okay, let's talk about the positives. As I already said, there's very little competition out there. Most real estate agents are not really working hard enough. Number two is mortgage rates are the lowest they've been in anyone's lifetime. Number three, one of, if not, you're selling in one of, if not the best location in America. So you certainly have that going for you. Next, you have plenty of demand. There are buyers out there who want to buy a house. There's plenty of demand. Next, listings. You can get listings now because even though there's very little inventory, you got to point out to people who are contemplating selling, this is the best price in the history of mankind. They may get a slightly higher price by waiting, maybe not, but honestly, I mean, if you'd have told them 5 years ago that their house would get whatever it's worth now, they would have thought you were crazy. So it's a great price. And because there's not much inventory, that favors the seller. When inventory starts to become more plentiful, they may not get the same prices, not because there's a softness in the real estate market, but just because there's more opportunity for inventory. I also think that a lot of realtors, and you would know better than I do, but it seems to me that a lot of realtors are missing out on the rental market, especially single-family homes. I read in the paper consistently that particularly in this pandemic, single-family home rentals are starting to go through the roof because people maybe are a little less reluctant to live in an apartment building or whatever, where they perhaps can they and their family get infected more easily. So I think you can pick up a couple $1,000 pretty quickly by focusing a little bit on rentals, which isn't as big a decision for a lot of people, and it can kind of keep you in pin money. And then next, you have probably as close as you're ever going to get to the undivided attention of buyers and sellers. They're not going out to dinner. They're not traveling. There's no school event for their children. There's really nothing else for them to do to distract them from the task at hand, which is to contemplate listing their house or buying a house. So you've got their undivided attention, perhaps more than you ever have before. And then consider this: the listing person, the person who's trying to sell their property, they should be a little flexible on pricing if you can get them to that. I think if you talk to them, you might be able to in some cases. Number one, point out to them, this is the highest price in the history of mankind. So they're already getting more than they ever anticipated in the past. But let's say it's $1 million house. If you tell them, if we price this at $950,000, we may get a bit of a price war, which may or may not help you, who knows. But let's say it still sells for $950,000. What were they going to do with that other $50,000? And once again, you got to deal a little bit with mathematics. But they were going to probably put it in a bank account. What are they getting in a bank account? 1% or less. So they're letting a 1% of $50,000, $500. So they're letting $500 of income, interest income, screw up the sale of this house. That's nuts. So sometimes if you take them through that math, it'll help to close the deal, and you show them how minimal a sacrifice it is to get the deal done. For sure, in this environment, you want to be asking for referrals. In difficult times, people want to do good deeds, and they want to help their friends. I mean, you see that all the time, and I'm going to read you 2 testimonials that are very flattering to us. But in both cases, both testimonials, and I'll read them in a few minutes, our clients said that one of the things that they're very pleased to be in a position to help others, friends and neighbors who may need a little help putting food on the table. So people do want to help their friends, neighbors, and family and do a good deed. So they're open to referrals, perhaps more than normal. And referring, your competitors aren't getting them. They've stopped working. So you can get more because maybe the person they were thinking of doing business with kind of bowed out. Then the other thing that's interesting, if this pandemic had happened 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, it would be profoundly different. But right now, you have marvelous technology that will help you greatly. Even with social distancing, you can have virtual appointments, you can have virtual showings, you can do things like we're doing right now with Zoom, and you have less traveling around, and kind of nice. You don't drive around traffic all day. And you have Danny, who's very savvy at helping you with this stuff. I don't know that everybody has that, but you can get a lot of help. So I think you have more good things available to you than negative things. I think you have 2 negative. I count up 2 negatives and 10 positives that I've discussed. Anytime you get a 10-to-2 ratio in your favor, I think that's really worth weighing and considering and getting off your duff and getting to work. Let's see, do I have any questions? Well, here, let's see, everybody put their Zoom mute on. No, I don't have any questions. Okay. Let's talk about us a little bit. We've been doing regular videos for our clients to keep them up to date and our outlook for investments in their retirement accounts and their personal accounts and the economy and so on. And we can send them to you too, if you like. I don't know if we'll get your email out of this or if you need to send us the email, but we've gotten pretty good feedback from them. Clients seem to like it. They're designed to keep our viewers informed. We've been sending them out once a week. If you have retirement accounts, a SEP or an IRA or a 401k from a previous employer or from your spouse, you're probably ignoring them. Your broker may or may not be ignoring you. I don't know. What can I say? You got to be crazy to be ignoring them in this time frame. This is not over. You can ignore your investments in good times because things are good. So what's the difference? But the whole point of the field of money management is to deal with or manage your way through difficult times. And I'll give you an example. If you've ever been on a cruise, I mean, the captain and his lieutenants are out on the dinner floor having dinner or dancing with the ladies, whatever the case may be. But if there's a storm, I want that captain on deck. That's true with a lot of financial advisors. They may schmooze with you and maybe even take you to lunch or whatever in good times. But right now is when they got to be on deck. And if they're not on deck, we'd like to be that designated alternative. I'll tell you that right now. You call us. You need to review it. It's a phone call. The stock market decline, in our judgment, is not over. We'll give you a free consultation on the phone. And obviously we do it because we hope to do business with you, but I think you'll be grateful. I want to share with you a couple of testimonials in these difficult times, and you should be doing this with your clients. You need to help people. They want help in tough times. But I was talking to one of our clients doing a review just a few days ago. It was a 1-year review. And when we were kind of winding it up, I'm quoting, I wrote down some notes of what he was saying. He said, you know, Ray, I kind of feel guilty because this whole virus thing hasn't really touched me economically at all. I can sleep nights and it's worry-free because I have my Social Security and I have my guaranteed fixed FIA. Help me out. Fixed indexed annuity income, and I don't have to worry about it. I have more income than I'm using, And in fact, he's one of them that said that I have the peace of mind of being able to help others. He helps a niche out, apparently. He said, but I got to tell you, I thought I did my homework before I retired. I knew what I didn't know, so I went to talk to some advisors, including us, and he elected to use us. And I found someone who can help me, and so I'm secure. That was very gratifying to me. And then in the world of real estate, and both of these folks said, you can call us and get their number. They're happy to talk to you. These are genuine and authentic testimonials. But this woman said that I was watching one of your timely videos, which I was just talking about that we could send to you, and thinking how thankful I am that I sleep peacefully at night because of you guys. When you made your presentation at the Malibu Real Estate Association a number of years ago, I was very impressed. I should have called you, but unfortunately I didn't. Then I went to another presentation that you made a year later at the Beverly Hills Greater Los Angeles Realtor Association. Wow, oh man. They say timing is everything. I was beginning to get uncomfortable with my current financial advisor, so I called you for one of your free consultations. I remember telling you that I lost almost half my portfolio in a stock market decline and didn't want to invest in anything that's going to lose money again because it was terrifying. And you listened to both my needs and my fears and put me into fixed index annuities. I had invested in a different type of annuity when I was younger and said I'd never do that again. But you described how fixed indexed annuities were different, so I trusted you and gave you some of my retirement money to see how you do. You did well, and gradually I gave you everything. Thankfully, that trust in those investments in fixed index annuities let me sleep at night during this pandemic. I know that I'm not losing any money and can even afford to give some small donations to others that don't know if they can put food on the table next week. Last year, I called you because I wondered if I had enough to retire. My biggest lady. By the way, in surveys done by survey of women executives who earn over $600,000 a year or more. I mean, they're pretty high-powered executives if they're earning that kind of money. Their greatest concern in retirement was becoming a bag lady. It was pretty interesting. You wouldn't think somebody that's that high-powered that would be their number one concern, but according to those magazines, it was. And that was this woman's also. She said, we met and we reviewed her portfolio. We clearly illustrated that she had enough resources and income that she wasn't going to become a bag lady. It was the first and only time that somebody told me in a credible way, mathematically, that I can believe them. And so I think those are good endorsements. They're good for using, to use them for referrals. And you surely have similar people that you help buy or sell houses with. And they can give you similar endorsements that you've done a good job. I know how careful your team is in making sure that you do a good job, because I've come to a number of your meetings and I hear the compliance and the care to getting it done right. So I really do encourage you to get to it. I think this is a time of real opportunity, but you got to work on it.
You got some questions there also.
I talked, Irv. I'm happy to answer questions if I need to or can, but that's pretty much what I had in mind to talk about.
Yeah, you got some questions there, right?
Okay, let's see. Where are they? From Dirk. How long will you have these low interest rates? You know, this downturn in the economy is probably going to be deflationary. So I suspect interest rates will stay pretty low for quite some time. Will they get any lower? Probably not. I think we're kind of there. And as I said, I've been doing talks to your group for about 10 years and almost 5 and 6 years ago. Actually, Dirk used to mock me outright. I'm expecting there's a lot of humility there now. But the reality is I think we're pretty close to the bottom of it. I think anybody waiting for him to go lower is foolish. If it does go lower, it'll be fractional. It's a very good time to be taking a mortgage. Let's see, what other questions do we have? How is your take on inflation? I don't think we'll have a lot of inflation, but I think you will get asset inflation. Commercial real estate, no, there are going to be a lot of for lease signs on. But housing, et cetera, I think you'll still see some lift in prices because there's pent up demand that is brewing there. So I think your pricing structure will be good. Okay, from Andy T, whoever that is, let's see, what is your opinion where the stock market's going? I don't think we've seen the bottom, Andy. I think the market will go lower. One of my videos talked about a classic bear market. A bear market is a market that is getting mauled or going down. A classic bear market is you get a pretty sharp and almost unforeseen decline. Then you get what they call a bear trap or a false rally where it starts to head up and it's like, oh, wow, you know, this is over. That tends to peak, and we may be kind of there now. You know, we had a pretty good rally in April, and now it's just sort of drifting lower. And that usually is an ongoing process. It kind of takes months. And then at some point, everybody throws in the towel, you get a capitulation, and it goes down to a bottom. I think we're still a number of months away from a bottom. And I don't think we will see January prices for a couple of years. The markets go down faster than they go up because fear is more powerful than greed. In most recessions, the markets decline in a 7 to 13 month period, and it takes 3 to 5 years to recover. I think we'll see something fairly similar to that here. So we're now 2.5 months, maybe 3 months into this decline. I think we have a ways to go yet. Let's see, the S&P relative to the high before the lockdown is down about 23%. I think we still will go lower. You're just beginning to get bankruptcies, but the retail industry is struggling mightily. And Neiman Marcus, J. Crew. I mean, the restaurant business, Soup Plantation, which I really like going to once in a while for lunch, and there's one near us, is closed, and they laid off. They had to let go 4,000 employees. I was shocked at that many employees. The airline industry probably won't be coming back for quite a while. The oil industry is in trouble. And by the way, along those lines, if any of your advisors have you in what's called a high yield bond mutual fund or ETF or a total return bond mutual fund, you want to sell those because they're littered with these companies that are teetering on the fringe of bankruptcy, because high yield and total return bond funds, by definition, they're junk bond funds, and junk bonds are probably going to get slammed because in a good market they can survive, but in a difficult time like this, you're going to have a lot of bankruptcies in some of those companies, and that'll just hurt your values terribly. What are you expecting? Are you expecting higher taxes due to this? No, I'm not. I think the government will be reluctant to try and penalize more, but maybe down the road, not in the near term. And, you know, one of the things that's holding this market up is the incredible trillion with a T, trillions of dollars of stimulus that the Fed has been pumping into the system. You can't do that endlessly. And the other reason that I think that the recovery would be a little bit sluggish is because a lot of people are encumbering themselves with debt, whether it be international countries, our countries, states, cities, counties, the federal government, individuals, they're encumbering themselves with debt. So even whenever we come out of this, I don't think people will be out there spending like crazy. I think that they're going to try and pay down some of those debts because it's freaking them out. Initially, if the economy were to open, and it'll be a process, people will be excited to go out, but I think they'll go out twice and then start staying home and kind of paying down the debt. That would be my guess. Let's see. Hang on here, these things are moving around. If you have your video on, can I call on you? I'm not sure what you're asking me, but you can always call on us, sure. I mean, whatever the question is, try us. Our phone number is 310-285. Subscribe to our weekly video. You don't, you just call us and we'll send it to you. We'll email it. Will the home prices go down significantly before the end of the year? No, I don't think significantly because there's not enough inventory. That's why I think you should, if you're a seller, I think you need to get to it, because as inventory starts to loosen up, that won't help your value as much as far as I know. Since stock market is struggling, do you feel the banks will tighten up on their lending? Yeah, I do. I think they will. But the other side of it, the consumer has the government on their side. The government is going to try and pump money into the banks and encourage them to keep lending, not to people who aren't qualified. I mean, they're not going to do like they did in 2008, I don't suspect. But yeah, I think, the banks are still healthy. This is not another 2008. In a capitalistic society, you need to have access to capital. And in 2008, the banks were broke. Right now, they're still healthy. And I think the Fed learned their lesson, and I think they'll keep them pretty liquid. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I think that they'll continue to lend. Let's see, from Jacob, I'm showing homes in San Bernardino County. I started seeing a lot of foreclosure and short sales. Would this again be a trend in the market in LA County? No, I don't think so, except in the lower end of the market. The lower end employees are getting hit pretty hard here. But overall, no. Now, I don't know San Bernardino County at all, frankly, but I get the feeling that it's maybe not as prosperous and doesn't have the staying power. And this is just my stereotype. I mean, you would know better, all of you would know better than I do. But I don't think they have quite the staying power that a lot of people as they move west towards the beaches. Right. So I think that's a pocket.
Ray, we also got a question from Mindy.
Okay. Hi, Mindy. Go ahead. What's the question? I can't hear it.
Yeah, just a second. We're going to turn her on here. Hey, Mindy, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What's the question?
I'm muted though.
We got you.
I can hear you. Just say the question. I can hear it. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for it, somebody asked, somebody states that sales tax in the city of Gardena and other cities have already gone up 1%. Whenever they were asking me about taxes, I assumed they meant federal income tax. Yeah, cities, states, and counties, they're very concerned. So I think they're going to act, this one yes, that one no. But whenever I first got that question, I was assuming that they meant federal income tax. I don't see federal income taxes getting bumped here and now, but cities and states and counties, it could very well be. I mean, I don't pay that much attention. And I don't know the policies of Gardena versus the policies of Redondo Beach, etc. I wouldn't have a comment. Is Mindy's question up yet? Does anybody know what the question is?
Mindy, you can go ahead and talk. We can hear you.
Okay, well, let's. Are there any others? And I can maybe get Mindy off the air because we don't seem to connect.
Okay.
There. Somebody talk to me.
Turn me back on. Ray? Yeah, Ray, I got you. Anything else that you want to add? One of the questions I had asked is how do we subscribe to your weekly videos?
Well, you don't have to subscribe. Just send us your email and we'll start sending it to you automatically. I mean, we don't charge for it or anything.
Okay.
We want your business. And that's what we want. We want your business and we want referrals, just like you guys. I mean, right now, our business has actually been quite good. Existing clients and some prospects who never became a client or whatever are kind of back. People are looking for answers here, just like I think they're looking for answers with real estate. But my concern for us is 5, 6, 7, 8 months down the road, we do most of our marketing for new clients by way of seminar. And, you just can't do seminars right now. Nobody comes to them. So I'm really more concerned for our business down the road. So that's why we're doing the videos, and we've gotten pretty good response to it. There's no magic bullet. You got to work hard at it and keep at it. But that's our alternative to doing seminars.
Okay, so if you would like to receive our videos, if you have a pen and paper, I'm going to give you our email. It's Beverly Drive Financial @gmail.com.
Okay, so Beverly Drive Financial @gmail.com. Beverly Drive Financial @gmail.com. or call us 310-285-0525. 310-285-0525. Ask for either Caroline or Ray, and we'll make sure you get it. You know, we think they're pretty good, and the feedback we get is we get pretty good feedback. So I think it's worthwhile.
Thank you, Ray. There's another question there that asking about lenders that are not financing income properties. Do you know when that will resume?
Oh, I think that'll be a while. Well, it depends. If you're talking about retail income, I think that'll be a while. If you're talking about for housing, no, I think that they'll come back to it. You know, people need housing, and this is not going to be the end of the world. This is a health thing, and at some point that, you know, that will pass. I don't think we're at that point, but it will pass. But if you're looking at retail, I think there's going to be a lot of for lease signs going up. A lot of people who are going to struggle to make it. You know, we keep talking about restaurants and retail, but a lot of businesses are going to struggle with this, and I know it. And it's heartbreaking. It's through no fault of their own in a lot of cases. But if you're looking at places to live, now I think you're still in a good market if you get to it. There's a lot of pent up demand, and people still want help. They want more help now than ever, maybe. But you got to work at it.
And Ray, you know, I can't leave this meeting without asking you about Tesla.
Well, I don't know why you can't. I mean, just leave it.
How are they doing?
Well, their stock's doing really well. It's surprising how well. But you know, you pay attention to Tesla more than I do. You just like to torture me. That's all. I don't understand the Tesla model as far as the stock is concerned. They haven't made profit, but 1 quarter, I think. And the stock has done very well, so don't ask me. Risk reward.
That's the same answer you gave me last time.
That's right. That's right. I think there's more risk than there is reward. But you know, so far they've defied gravity, and I'm happy for them. I mean, it's a beautiful car. Apparently people who have them say it's a great product, but they're not selling enough at a profit. And in the world of investing, you know, it always seems to me it's a pretty good idea to buy companies that are actually making money.
Yeah, it's strange to me too. That's why I keep asking.
Yeah, no, you don't. Asking just to torture me.
Anything else you want to add to wrap it up, Ray?
No, I think I'm good unless anybody has questions. But no, I mean, I hope that resonates for our participants. I've enjoyed doing this Zoom thing. It's kind of interesting. I've never done one before, so I do these videos, but they're not interactive. It's just a video where we're talking to the audience, but it's not interactive. So Zoom's kind of interesting. I'm probably using.
Well, good. Thank you, Ray. I really appreciate you sharing this with our agents, and especially thank you to Caroline also.
Thank you guys for helping. And best of luck to everybody.
All right. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
You bet.
Bye-bye.